Hey there, and welcome back to the next installment of the Aspect of the Week series. Here I pick one aspect of the week ahead, one at the astrological events, whether it's an aspect, a new or a full moon, or planet-changing signs or direction, and share with you a few tips about how to work with that energy this week. This week, the last week of March, the first week of April, so the week starting March 29th, the aspect I've chosen to highlight is the Sun Sextile Saturn. So Sun in Aries around 11 degrees, Sextile Saturn at 11 degrees Aquarius. This aspect is happening on Wednesday, March 31st. And if you're in Canada and the US, if you're in Australia, you'll feel this aspect on Thursday, March the 1st. So this type of sort of short info video is an example of what I include in my monthly astrology guide, which is available as a subscription on my website, kellysastrology.com. I create exclusive videos talking about every aspect, every astrological event that's happening each day, each week, and each month. So if you'd like more info on the astrology of the week or the month ahead, pop over to my website, Kelly's Astrology, where you can sign up for that. But without further ado, let's dive into talking about the aspect, the featured aspect this week, Sun Sextile Saturn. I'm a little bit excited about this aspect, which might sound funny, but I'll explain to you my reasoning why. The Sun is in the sign of Aries, where it's exalted, and it's forming a supportive aspect with Saturn, who is in the sign of Aquarius, where Saturn is the traditional ruling planet of that sign. So here we have an aspect being formed between two planets that have got some lovely dignity or extra strength or resources available to them. That's kind of how I think about planets that are in exaltation or rulership in their sign placement. They've got some talent, they've got something to offer. So if you think about two planets coming together in aspect as similar to two people coming together in a meeting, having two planets in aspect, assessing the condition of those planets can tell us a little bit about how that meeting or that aspect will unfold. So this is the kind of aspect that might describe a meeting between two experienced, capable, talented individuals who have each got different skill sets, but have decided to come together with a common goal or a common project in mind. And so when I think about this aspect, weighing those technical factors, this makes me think of this Sun Sextile Saturn aspect as an aspect of being productive, of getting things done, and also an aspect that can indicate the ability that the ability exists to stabilize things or to create long-lasting plans and commitments. Of course, long-lasting is a Saturn keyword and concept. And so with the Sun working with Saturn, we have the option here to formalize something that's meaningful for us, so it's locked in for the long term. We also have the option to make a commitment, a plan, or a promise that is going to last. So Sun Sextile Saturn, this aspect isn't about doing something quickly, just for now. Even though something may happen midweek as this aspect forms, it's going to have a long-term impact or implication. Both the Sun and Saturn can describe leaders. Saturn perhaps more like institutions or organizations, but the Sun definitely leaders and figureheads. And so it's the idea of how do we get the best out of the leaders around us, but how can we act in a really proactive, inspiring, useful way as a leader ourselves. So it's a little bit about kind of finding the leader within. That's another way you could think about this. There are other thoughts in astrology that link the Sun to qualities of identity. And whenever I see the Sun and Saturn together in aspect, it does make me think about defining your identity, being really clear about who you are, what you stand for, what you want to be known for, but also being really clear about what you don't want to be known for, or maybe what you don't want to be associated with. So there's a clarifying quality to this Sun-Saturn aspect that might bring home to you something that you're ready to prioritize or something that you are willing and kind of ready to leave or walk away from. So Sun sextile Saturn can be a clarifying aspect where we might get better or more confident at drawing some important lines in the sand, or drawing important distinctions around self and other, around what's important and what's not important. Saturn's also a planet associated with time. And sometimes when we see a Sun-Saturn aspect, we get a little bit of a reminder or a chance to learn a new lesson about time management and about how to effectively use our time to get the most out of our days or to get the most out of our energy. So this Sun-Saturn aspect has quite a few different themes in it, depending on how you want to approach it. Generally speaking, I think there is something here about choosing the duties or obligations or tasks that matter to you, that you want to prioritize, that you want to make the center of your days or your time. And then also clarifying what you're ready to step away from or hand over to someone else. And there's a general quality of stabilizing here where things can become more consistent, more steady, or more reliable based on that dignity factor of both the Sun and Saturn here. There's something else I want to say. We've talked about constructive. We talked about being productive. The other thing that I think Sun in Aries and Saturn, the two together, speaks a little bit to short-term versus long-term. The Sun in Aries is more immediate and instant, whereas, of course, anything to do with Saturn has more of that long timeline attached to it. So here we might have an aspect that could encourage us to not just think about what we're doing this day or this week or this month, but to think about how the actions of the day speak to the consequences or the rewards of tomorrow. So you might think with Sun sextile Saturn, what could I do today that will be useful for me in the future? You know, there's a theory, I'm sort of half remembering a quote in my mind, but it's the idea of, if you plant a fruit tree, you're not going to get any fruit off that tree right away. Not in the first year, probably not in the first 2 or 3 years. But you know that at the 5-year mark and at the 10-year mark, that fruit tree is going to be producing fruit. And so this Sun sextile Saturn aspect is a little bit like that. What symbolic fruit tree are you going to plant, agree to, or commit to today, knowing that you may not get any of the benefit of that immediately, but that in the future, you and others can benefit from that as well. So it's kind of playing, this Sun sextile Saturn aspect is asking us to explore differing timelines, short-term versus long-term. And usually when we have Saturn involved, we're asked to prioritize the long-term over the short-term. So that's something else that you can think about as the Sun sextile Saturn midweek. I'm really curious to hear if any of you do get those experiences of getting clarification about something, getting confirmation about something that's going to be lasting or going to have a longer time frame, or whether you get a sense of events or circumstances stabilizing in one or another areas of your life. So let me know in the comments below. I always love to hear from you all about how these aspects are showing up in your own lives. If you do like this type of info about current aspects, like getting the Astro Weather Report, do pop over and check out my monthly astrology guide, which you can find on my website, kellysastrology.com. You can also go via the link below. But enjoy this. I'm looking forward to this aspect. I'm curious to hear and to see, I've got a few ideas how it might play out for me personally, but I love watching the aspects collectively. And I look forward to hearing your stories about how this aspect shows up for you. Until next time, team, take care.